Mitchell Tinsley. Shout out to our boy Bengals Drake for posting this. But he posted a quote from Jay Morrison that Mitchell Tinsley said, "I don't want this to be a one-hit wonder." Bengals wide receiver Mitchell Tinsley after scoring a first career touchdown. Here's what I'll say about this whole situation. Now that Jake Browning's the quarterback, Mitchell Tinsley is going to be utilized a lot. Mainly because I feel like there is that connection. You know, this is a guy that is a second-team player, is a third-team player. And Jake Browning, throughout the whole offseason and through training camp and preseason, was a second-team quarterback. Because of that, he got a lot of reps with Mitchell Tinsley. So there's a situation where they worked very well together and obviously formed somewhat of a connection. And that's going to help him out greatly when it comes to, playing this, playing moving forward. This is his guy. Obviously, yes, at the end of the day, he needs, he obviously has some rapport with Jamar Chase, some rapport with T. Higgins. But at the end of the day, he has his most rapport with Mitchell Tinsley. This is someone he's been practicing with like crazy. He's had multiple months doing this. So there's going to be that connection right away where it's like they're on the same page, right? They're just like Batman and Robin. They're on the same page every single time. Where like with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, there's going to have to be some, growing pains of time where you have to spend together. Like even with Joe Burrow, who's going to be out for 3 months. After 3 months of leaving and then coming back, Joe Burrow is going to be right on the same page again with T and Jamar Chase within seconds, right away. No growing pains because he spent 4 or 5 years with them, right? So they have that rapport. They have that back and forth. Mitchell Tinsley doesn't, he has that rapport with Jake Browning, but he doesn't have that rapport with Joe Burrow. And obviously over time, Joe would have gotten that rapport with him. But we're talking about months on months on months of Jake Browning to Mitchell Tinsley. So, again, Jake Browning just doesn't have the rapport yet with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So, we'll see how it ends up working out in the end. I don't think he'll be a one-hit wonder. I think he will score another touchdown or two before the end of the season. Honestly, I think right now, with what I just said, I think he could definitely score like 6 or 7 touchdowns this year. I don't know if he'll be that big after this year, but there's always a possibility. You got to keep in mind, Jermaine Burton has been a healthy scratch both of the first 2 weeks of the season. This is a guy who, again, isn't hurt or isn't injured, but he's been a healthy scratch. So with that, and then Chuck Sizzle primarily not even getting any snaps on offense, just being a special teamer, it would just, all make sense in the end. Let me pull up the football snaps here for the Bengals here to see how much snaps Mitchell Tinsley got last week. So last week, again, now that he got 10 snaps last week, okay? Chuck Sizzle had 1 snap for the whole year. So he's gotten 1 snap from last week he had 0. This week he had 1. That's Chuck Sizzle, that is. So now with the fact that he's out, Joe Burrow, you're probably going to see this number rise a little bit more. Because it's very clear that Jake Browning doesn't have a rapport with Yoshi. I mean, for Pete's sake, it actually wasn't really much of a rapport with Joe Burrow either, because it looked like this year, it's been a mess this year for Yoshi. It's only week 2. He definitely can get it going. And there's definitely a scenario where Yoshi, he is kind of down that depth chart. Year 1, like his first year, so he got some play time before with Jake Browning, but it's been a little bit. Yoshi has worked his way up to wide receiver 3 on this team, so he's gotten a lot of first team reps, a lot of reps with Joe Burrow. So there is some rapport, but probably not as much right away. Because it's just been so long. It's when he had maybe 3 or 4 months with Jake Browning, and then the whole season kicks off, and then he has all off season with Joe, all season so far with Joe. So, but yeah, so 10 snaps, 5 snaps. We're going to see Tinsley definitely get up there higher with those snap counts. So, most likely, I could see him getting up higher snap counts and Yoshi getting less snap counts. That's definitely a possibility, especially if that rapport really starts kicking off more with Mitchell Tinsley and Jake Browning. You're going to put the best receiver out there. And while I think Yoshi is a way better receiver than Tinsley personally, it doesn't matter when it comes to how the quarterback plays. The quarterback is more, used to and better with throwing at Tinsley. You're going to put the better receiver out there, and Tinsley would be the better receiver. So we'll have to wait and see how everything shakes out, but I don't think he'll be a one-hit wonder, but I definitely think he's in a prime position right now to take off. And, it's really just that rapport between him and Jake Browning, but we'll see. See you guys next one, though. Peace out.